Husband kept threatening to have me deported and acted like he owned me. He went ballistic when I left the country without telling him. My husband, Robert, knew I was on a dependent visa through his work permit, and he used it against me every single day. If I asked him to help with dishes, he'd threaten to call immigration and report our marriage as fake. When I wanted to visit my family, he'd laugh and say I might not be allowed back if he told border control we were separated. When he came home drunk at 3 in the morning and I got upset, he'd wave his phone and pretend to dial immigration. He even saved their number as wife deporter and showed it to me like it was funny. He controlled every part of my life with that threat. I couldn't work because he couldn't find my permit paperwork. I couldn't open a bank account because he said immigration would think I was planning to run. I couldn't make friends because he claimed immigration watched who I talked to. He made me ask permission just to leave the house and timed my grocery trips, saying if I took too long he'd report me for abandoning the marriage. When he was angry, he made me sleep on the floor and said detention would be worse. He told his friends I was basically his property until permanent residency, which he said would never happen. He even joked with his brother that he'd found the perfect wife because I couldn't leave without being sent back to poverty. What he didn't know was that I'd been secretly planning my way out. While he thought I was grocery shopping, I was going to the library and learning about immigration law. I found out leaving voluntarily meant I could return later, but being deported could ban me for years. I also learned about skilled worker visas. I had a master's degree in engineering from my home country, something Robert never even asked about. He assumed I was someone he had rescued. Using library computers, I started applying for jobs back home and got an offer from a major tech company that paid 3 times what he made with sponsorship to return later. I accepted and started preparing in secret, moving my important documents somewhere safe. Then I told him I needed to visit my sick mother for 2 weeks. He laughed and said I could have 1 week, and if I wasn't back on time, he'd report our marriage as fake. He made me leave almost everything behind as insurance that I'd return. At the airport, he told me to enjoy my trip because once I got permanent residency, he'd never let me leave again. Then he warned me not to get any ideas about staying, because he'd make sure I was banned from returning. I smiled, said I understood, and got on the plane. I never came back. I started my new job as soon as I landed and sent him divorce papers. He called furious, screaming that he'd have me deported. I told him I was already out of the country. There was nothing to deport. He tried to threaten me with a ban, but I explained I'd left voluntarily so I could return whenever I wanted on my own visa. That's when he went quiet. After that, things started falling apart for him. His workplace found out I had left, and suddenly he didn't look like the family man they thought he was. His friends found out too, and even his brother started questioning him. Months later, I returned to the US, this time on my own visa, with a high-paying engineering job making far more than him. I ran into him once at a coffee shop near his office. He went pale seeing me back in the country without him, doing better than ever. I wasn't alone. I was with my new boyfriend who worked with me. Robert tried to approach, but my boyfriend asked if he was the ex who used deportation threats. Some of his coworkers overheard, and word spread quickly. Within weeks, he lost his job after others came forward about his behavior. He hasn't recovered since. He still sends messages from random numbers blaming me, but I never respond. Last I heard, he married another foreign woman and started the same threats again. She found me online and reached out. I told her how to leave safely and helped her line up a job back home. She left him too. Now he's known as the man whose wives keep choosing to leave rather than stay with him. Immigration authorities have flagged him for abuse, and he can't sponsor anyone anymore. In the end, the deportation he used as a weapon against me became the very thing that set me free.